It is Monday, January the 20th, 2020. So many 20s in a row today. I'm your host, Slacker Kyan, aka Travis, whatever the hell you want to call me. Welcome to the podcast. This, of course, is your Mr. Video Game Mr. Video Game live podcast brought to you by Dead Sun Entertainment. Clap your hands, say yeah, everybody's here in the house tonight. Fuck yeah, I'm excited, you're excited, we're all excited to be here. And, of course, with me today, there's no delaying him. He's coming whether you like it or not. It's Brian, a.k.a. Wonder Boy.
I'll keep coming. Always.
Is that a promise or a threat?
You've seen It Follows, right?
Yeah.
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 That's me. Coming up on you on the sidewalk behind you, just whispering in your ear. Workers' rights.
Unionized today? Woo!
We the independent.
Anyway, at 3 houses, she'll take one. If you're not using it, it's Lindsay, aka Lady Merowyn.
You know what? Given my upstairs neighbor situation at this very moment, yeah. If anybody's got another apartment that they're willing to just like put on loan, I'm there.
What if I told you there was a secret 4th house?
There is. Did you not hear the...
Oh no, I know there is. That's why I was asking. What if I told you, on the off chance that the 3 houses didn't work and the neighbors are still buttholes, what if there was a secret 4th house and they lived in the sewer?
Ooh. Does this one have a certain Michelangelo involved?
Different house.
Ah!
Less people, more bashing the establishment and religion.
I forgot to ask, y'all been up to anything the last week? Anything good that our viewers should know?
I've done the unthinkable and have started playing GTA Online.
Whoa! Why?
Class
what
traitor.
drove you to the madness? What drove you to the world of bank robbing and glitches?
Oddly enough, it's really good stress relief after a rough day.
I can see it.
Yeah, that's why I
And
used to
I
play
went
Doom in high
into-
school.
So I've learned some stuff because I remember we ragged on the Diamond City Casino really bad.
Yes.
I've learned some stuff.
Oh?
So yes, you can buy in-game currency with real-world money.
Hooray.
But you cannot buy casino currency with real-world money. However, you can transfer said in-game currency to casino chips, but it gives you a max of 20k per transaction, and they give you 1,000 a day. Just for being there. Like every 24 hours you get 1,000. You get a spin on the big wheel. And I spun on the big wheel, and guys, I am the proud owner of one of the brand new ugly ass Carrion Everon cars. It is this massive monster truck. It is bright purple with green flames, and it says Harsh Souls across the roof.
You know, when I think Merowyn, I think harsh, bright green and purple. That's absolutely your colors.
Well, I mean, my crew color is Twitch purple, so.
Can I just say that whoever has access to a 3D printer, get those schematics and whip one of those up for me right now.
Yeah,
I will
those
drive
actually
it to the
are
beach
bright
for
colors.
Yeah, I posted it in our podcast Discord, so.
Yes,
Go
and
have
I'm
it.
all over that.
The thing is, though, like, my character in heels towers over the men in the game.
Ooh.
And in flats, she doesn't even really come up to the bottom of the window on this thing.
Yes.
Good.
Fucking
night.
love it.
And it sucks on roads, off-roading only. You
It's the
cannot
most-
corner for shit on roads.
It's the most GTA car ever made.
Pretty much. Pretty much. I'm saving up for a penthouse at the casino. The one I want is going to cost me about 7 million. My
Good
current
night.
bank 365k.
I mean, that is a fantasy right there. 365k. You can get me in that life. Hell fucking yeah.
Yeah. And I mean the Twitch Prime reward for it this month was a free arcade. So I own an arcade now.
Ah,
It makes me about 5 grand a day in game
sweet.
time, so like 48 minutes.
Sweet.
Not
I wish I
bad.
got that kind of return.
Especially
Right.
on an arcade. Holy crap.
Yeah, bear in mind the thing costs if you want to fully tits it out with like really awesome design and everything, plus buy all of the machines, you're looking in the realm of 10 to 12 million.
So about the same amount as the people that set up the VR arcade in the mall across the way from me spent to set up their storefront.
Ooh.
Alright.
Dude, there's a VR arcade. I'm coming to visit.
don't get your hopes up. From what I've seen, like it's not necessarily the best thing in the world.
Oh, so I can have more fun at home. Gotcha.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I haven't tested it out fully, and every time I've walked by there, it's been barrenly empty. So I don't know.
I had like a miniature heart attack a second ago. I checked my Twitter and Tony Hawk was trending. I was like, what did he do? Oh, people just talking about how much they love the Tony Hawk game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's rad.
Yeah. Shall we get to actual real news going on in the gaming world?
I guess so. I mean, unless you want to hear about me having to sort through all of my like philosophy and genre fiction novel books again, since I'm having to finally complete my move.
All right, let's get into the late season.
Oh, I'm sorry. Us here on the video game podcast, we don't want to talk about Nietzsche, huh?
No, don't want to talk about Nietzsche. He's
Fine
a
then,
niche topic.
Whatever. Slavov Zizek says hello. Fuck off.
Zizek can suck my nuts.
How dare you?
All right. We had a whole week full of delays, and starting off with Final Fantasy VII Remake has been delayed to March 3rd. Not a huge delay, you know, or delay from March 3rd to April 10th. Phrasing words, I know how to speak the English language. Not that bad of a delay, about a month. You know, we're starting off small here.
I notice you say starting off. I mean, I foresee more delays for this.
Well, you gotta remember it's an episodic game, so like we're still only talking about like the first episode, like the first chunk of this thing. So yes, Marilyn, you are correct. We probably will see more delays for the future episodes coming. Because just considering how long it's taken us to get to this point where we finally are on the precipice of the Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out, like it only makes sense that there's going to be some delays on those titles coming out going forward.
I
This one-
remember literally
Sorry.
buying my PlayStation 4 for this and The Last of Us 2's announcement years ago.
Yep, it only took the entire console generation for you to get what you bought your console for.
Yeah, just a whole for those two games. That's why I bought it, and you know, not that I'm necessarily against the PlayStation 4. I've had a wonderful time with it, but Jesus fucking Christ, at least it's not as bad as Final Fantasy 15, aka 13 Versus. That one took a minute.
Yeah. It definitely did. It's just I don't know. This doesn't surprise me though. It's only a month. Like I'm curious as to why they did this. I know like some of their wording around the reason was to like deliver the best possible experience or whatever. But like what can you honestly get done to like really super enhance that in a month's time? You know,
You
like
gotta,
this really. Sorry.
you gotta really polish that dolphin blow. That's very important.
Well, I mean, yes. I mean, you got to get the chocobos right.
Mm-hmm.
I totally understand. I understand that mindset. It's a very good mindset to have. Here's my thing. I honestly think that this is just them trying to get out of the way of so many other games. Like I think they're just literally trying to get out of the way of the month of March, because the month of March is so fucking inundated with stuff.
You're not wrong. I mean, you've got Doom Eternal, you've got that Animal Crossing. If we went by the original timeline of March, everything came out in March. So I'm not against it. I'm kind of for it. Also, hey, look, you can play darts now. That's so cool.
Now, the funny thing though is that this whole thing happened right after a leak of the game's demo came
Mhm.
out and kind of detailed some of the stuff in the game. Trying to see if there's anything that we really could extrapolate here that we haven't seen before.
Really, most
Um,
of what I understand was gathered from the demo was like character models and things and, minor story points, but not like big parts of the game itself.
Well, that's the thing, is like it's story points for a story that the majority of people that are interested in this game already know. That we've seen a lot of the character models, we've seen the battle system, we've seen a ton of stuff. Really, the only thing we haven't really seen are like, I guess some of the more, if they're trying to do even higher def cinematics in this thing, and even then, like all the cinematics that we've seen have been stellar. So I don't know if there's really much to glean other than maybe figuring out whenever the demo is going to be released. I heard rumor that the demo was still going to be released on the same timetable, even though the game got delayed. But I'm not sure if that is actually substantiated or not. I haven't seen anybody verifying that, so do not quote me on that.
Well, we have 2 months before like even the full game itself comes out, so if you wanted to put out a demo, not a huge timetable.
No, but I mean, you could still get the demo out early March, get people excited for it. People that are like wary, because there are still some people that are wary about this, myself included. Like,
Mm.
Final Fantasy VII, it might not be my favorite Final Fantasy game, but it's a stellar one. It's a good one, and the way this thing looks in an updated battle system is really intriguing to me. So I would love to have a demo to get my hands on the battle system and see how it feels, because that's really the main thing. If that doesn't feel right, I probably will not play this game in any large chunk.
Yeah, don't blame you. This seems like the kind of game that if you're not, die hard into it, like myself, then I would definitely recommend waiting for reviews to come out before you throw your chunk at it, because, oh, man, there's a lot of cringe in Final Fantasy VII that they could make even cringier. We're not entirely sure yet how this is really going to play out. But
Very true.
continuing with that delay and more for the belabored Squeenix, we got Marvel's Avenger pushed all the way out to September 4th.
Raise your hand if you're actually surprised by this.
Nope.
Exactly.
This water's delicious. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, I'm just saying, out of all of the games that were delayed, like this is the one that did not shock me at all. Like, this is the one I knew was going to get a delay because of how little we have been hearing about it. This game is supposed to come out in May, and we haven't heard anything. No, like, promotion, no, like, getting out in front of, like, on Twitch, getting out in front of your fan base, getting out and giving any kind of presentations or updates on how the mechanics are going to work, how the single player is going to interact with the multiplayer, like all this other stuff. There's so many questions around this thing, and they have been radio silent. And so this honestly is probably the best thing they could do. Hopefully they'll get another E3 to kind of show this thing off and hopefully answer some of those questions in a better, more like substantial way. And honestly, this will probably be the best thing to happen for this game.
I'm sorry, though. The line that is actually right in the middle of our screen right now. The extra months will allow for more time for fine tuning and polishing the game so that it's actually fun to play.
That is a statement, isn't it? That it's
Dude.
actually fun to play.
Just, dude. Seriously?
You do not have a cell phone that good throughout the rest of this list, I think. Well, no, I take that back. There's one that's later on that maybe they didn't recognize as a cell phone, but this is definitely
Yeah.
one. Like this one is still, it hurts. That's a punch to the gut. If the people making the game don't think it's fun to play, what the fuck do you think the people buying it are gonna think?
Yeah.
I mean, at least they're getting a monetary gain out of it. They're getting a paycheck. We have to pay for the privilege to hate the game.
Yes. We have to pay to feel bad.
Considering the amount of concern that there's been over what's been shown so far for the Avengers game, this has filled me with a whole lot of confidence, that statement, you guys. Just saying.
I mean, it just speaks to the same concerns that everyone has had about this thing. You know, like I said before, they just have not been able to give their pitch in a way that actually connects with audiences. Like, yes, you're giving me the ability to play as these heroes, but there are so many other things that they are promising with this. They are not communicating in a way that actually makes you understand how they will interact, how they will work together, and if they can honestly deliver all of those different experiences. It's the same thing that happened with Anthem. You know, every problem that I've seen with, like, in terms of the public face of Anthem heading into its release, I've seen with this game. You know, other than the fact that they showed a bit more in-game footage, or quote-unquote in-game footage of this game, than they did with the initial run of Anthem PR around E3 and EA Play. So, like, if I have to keep comparing it to that game, I think it tells you where I'm at right now in terms of confidence of where this thing's going to be. And that sucks, because this is an awesome license to have, and it's an awesome thing to say, like, hey, team up with your buddies and play as the Avengers, with all these characters having different play styles, even if they are, like, nipped from other video games. Like, Thor plays like Kratos, Iron Man plays like Anthem. Like, all these, like, the characters play in ways that are familiar to you, but play off of the characters that they are. But if you're not able to actually like bring that into a cohesive thing that actually feels good to play with people, then, like, what the fuck are you even doing?
It's a good question. You've got to get, like, a multiplayer together that doesn't suck. And man, there's been so many games that have tried for this sort of feel before and just haven't been there. So I'm hopeful, but I am not expecting a whole lot personally. But then, never been a big MCU fan, so.
I mean, I get it, but I mean, this game's so purportedly gonna let me play as Miss Marvel, and if I can do that, then you got me in, you sold me. So, like, but if you can't make that actually interesting and fun, then I don't know what I'm doing.
Fair,
you know?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Continuing with the delays, we've also got Dying Light 2 delayed. I don't know that I care. Just
here's the thing that bothers me about this one.
Mm-hmm.
This game, every time that I've seen it shown anywhere or talked about anywhere, or I've seen Chris Avellone get out there and interview about the process of developing and writing this game and building its world out, every step of the way it has felt so overly ambitious. And that's not to say it's a bad thing to have that, because in video games, like, you want to push the boundaries of what you can do, especially near the end of a console generation, whenever you know exactly where to push and prod these systems to get them to go into areas that they haven't been into yet. But Dying Light 2's world seemed like somewhat of a pipe dream in execution in a lot of ways, in the way that they were describing it. And knowing that, and it makes complete sense that they would try and push out of the spring 2020 window to later in the year. I mean, I know they said it's on indefinite delay, so they haven't really given a new release window. I would not be surprised if this gets pushed back to 2021.
Same.
But also, like, once again, I think that part of this is, like, the game still has a lot of baking to do. Hopefully that does not mean crunch. Same goes for Avengers. Hopefully that does not mean a crunch to get that thing going the way it needs to be going by September. But like this game, it feels like every time I've seen it, like it has a very good promise, but it always felt like it has a long way to go. And I would not be surprised if we don't see this thing for another year. I would not be surprised if this ends up as a PS5 release.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, this feels like a game that should be a next gen release at this point. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I am looking at next year at earliest for myself.
I mean, to be honest, the first Dying Light was awesome. It was a lot of fun. But the fact that, like, I completely forgot that this was slated for this year, that does not bode well.
No, it doesn't. and that kind of sucks because like honestly, this is one of the games that after seeing like the explanation of what they want to do with the world and how like it could be executed, like the demos that they showed at E3, like I was genuinely excited for this. And I have never touched Dying Light 1. Like I just did not. I was done with zombie bullshit at that point. But this game actually kind of intrigued me in terms of like how it wants to build out its world, how it wants to make decisions, interact with that world, and impact that world in a way. But you know, it feels a lot like some of the promises that you saw around like the Mass Effect series, and we all saw how that played out in some ways. So I don't know, like it's intriguing to me, but it doesn't inspire a lot of excitement right now, just because no one knows if they can pull off what they are promising.
Yeah, I don't know. Myself, I'm just kind of in the. I don't know. Another zombie game with open world action. I don't know if I need that in 2020. I'm good.
Well, I feel like this game isn't necessarily about the zombie stuff this time around, though. I mean, yes, the zombies are there, but it's definitely more so about like the society that built up after that whole thing went down, and like how that society, how you interact with that society, how the like the politics and the community and all of these different things, like how are these things going to, what path are they going to take, what path are you going to lead them down, how are you going to impact it, like that sort of stuff is very intriguing to me. That's why I'm pulled into this game. It should go as no surprise that, you know, if they're able to pull this off with stellar writing the way that Chris Avellone has put out there in multiple games to this point, then this could be like an awesome hit right in the heart of games that I like. But like I said, like it's a huge promise that they are trying to throw out there, and it makes total sense that they are going to put this thing back into the oven.
Yeah, it's. And I think from how well, Dying Light, the original, went, that they probably can survive and put it off for a while, so. I think they'll be fine. It's fine. Let it bake.
I'd rather see it come out completely done than, like, hey, here's the 8 million gigs of day one patches we need to do to fix our broken ass game.
Yeah, you don't need that in your life. It's fine. Put it off if you gotta. And speaking of putting things off, the heavily anticipated Cyberpunk 2077 is also delayed.
No.
Also until September.
Wouldn't be a delay season without one of the most anticipated games of the year getting hit with this.
I know. Even she showed up. Hey, what do you think about Cyberpunk being delayed to 2077? No? Nothing? Alright. Oh, God, she hates that. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, I think that her opinions are shared by most of the panel here, at least. Yes, it is a bummer that this is being delayed. At the same time, though, I think this is an occurrence, at least in my opinion, of two things on opposite ends of the spectrum here. One, they're one. I would not be surprised if they were trying to get out of the way of the spring quarter as well, because like that, the first 3 months of the year are so dense with releases. Almost it looks. I know we like there really is no like lull really in game release nowadays. I know like maybe you could argue that late July, early August is your lull period, but even then there really isn't that much of a lull period in terms of release windows. But January to March is starting to look more and more like that September, October, November period
Yeah, like
where
the
everything is
first
insane.
couple of weeks after this Christmas, it's kind of dead, and then just whoosh.
Yeah, everybody takes their holiday break and then just opens the floodgates. So I'm not surprised at all that this got delayed. Um, but what really bums me out about this, because I can be patient. I can wait to play a game that genuinely excites me. Um, but the fact that more than likely this means that CD Projekt Red is going to crunch the fuck out of people to get this
Yeah,
thing to where they want it to be.
as Kelverin said, and as well, we a little bit, trying not to talk about the elephant in the room, but a lot of these games, in order to get out at these new dates, instead of a lot of people seem to be under the impression that a delay means that the people will be, taking it a little bit easier in order to get it out and all of this. Not necessarily, and CD Projekt Red basically at least is being honest about what a delay means. Um, they stated, "We try to limit crunch as much as possible, but it is the final stage. We try to be reasonable in this regard, but yes, unfortunately, crunch is the, let's see, typically near development. Here we go. This is the part that I really wanted, though. You sacrifice some things to do that and be part of that. There are a lot of people who come into the industry that are fresh. They don't really understand what it takes to do it. So we get a lot of new guys coming in and they go, oh God, this is like too much. But then we have other guys come in from Rockstar and they're like, this is not even crunch. We're doing the best we can to keep the work under control, but sometimes when you're doing some big ass games like this, it's not always possible to do that. It takes really hard work to make it really awesome. In quotes.
Then extend your development cycle. Like, that is really simple.
Yeah, you've already extended this into later in the year, so why not? If you're already delaying a game, delay it a little bit extra so you don't have to do this crunch during that time period.
Catch that sweet, sweet holiday rush.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just treat your employees like people, not office equipment.
But where's the fun in that? Where's the fun in judging your employees based off of how they approach crunch? Like honestly, like that the one line in this whole thing that really irked me and really got under my skin was the fact that they were like, well, then you got people from Rockstar who is like, this isn't even crunch. I'm like, that's because they've been worked to the fucking bone by a company that does not respect them. And you are just going out and saying like, well, if they didn't respect you, then you'll be like, we'll just throw you a penance out here. Like we'll throw you, instead of an 80-hour work week, we'll just throw a 65-hour work week at you, and then like you'll be perfectly fine because you can deal with that. Like there's totally no stress in what we're doing to you. Fuck that noise. Fuck that hard. Like this is from the boss of one of their studios. Like this is from an executive that is saying this. The nonchalantness to say that, well, sometimes you make some big ass games and you can't make big ass games without fucking putting your employees' nose to the grindstone for obscene amount of hours per week. That is complete horseshit. It makes me not want to support this game anymore. And honestly, it's just another thing in a long line of stuff that CD Projekt Red has had pop up on their radar that has been problematic at times. Whether it be cultural or in terms of workers' rights. Like, I'm sorry, it frustrates the fuck out of me to see this stuff happen. especially considering what we're about to get to, because I know you have it queued up, Travis, because I pointed this out to you.
Yeah, and I just do want to throw in here that, like, I'm used to the idea of tech coming with crunch. You know, if you've been with the podcast long enough, you know that I've been in tech industry for 10 years now. It comes with a little bit. But there's a difference between the type of crunch that, like, you know, maybe 50, sometimes 60 hours for an employee for a couple of weeks every couple of years. Yeah, it's not a big fucking deal, but we're talking about several months of crunch at probably around 70 to 80 hours per week until this releases, and probably a month or two after it, because we're talking about an industry with day one patches. It's fucking gross. But yeah, this is something that Brian brought up directly. I had forgotten this statement, that the CD Projekt Red boss had promised that this game will not have crunch. And go fuck yourself.
Yeah, to quote one Ortiz from All Elite Wrestling, we lied. Like, literally, Marcin, like, Iwinski was right out there talking to Kotaku about this and said, we are not going to crunch. Our devs will not have to crunch to get Cyberpunk out the window. Guess what, motherfucker? You said you have gone back on your word, and your devs are going to have to crunch to get this game out. That is complete dog shit. It's just so fucking frustrating to see this sort of thing continue to happen, especially knowing the heightened knowledge that people are starting to get about labor rights within the industry. So yeah, like, this is the thing is, like, what frustrates me even more is that this didn't even really hit the radar of fans of this game that much either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
no,
know?
the discourse that went up around when the game was delayed was, "Oh, take all the time you need to. We'd rather wait for a good game. A game's only good if it's released good," and blah blah. Well, yeah, but, like, and especially for all of these games delayed, God, especially the Square games. Fuck off. Square has a horrible culture of crunch time. If you think CD Projekt Red is bad about it, don't talk about fucking Japanese game developers, because holy shit. At least these people are probably, after this is done, get a year or two worth of downtime, but man, those industries are fucked.
Well, here's the thing though. They're not going to get a year or two of downtime because they're going to have to produce DLC to support this thing going forward for at least a year.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying
know?
that they're going to have nothing to do, but it's not going to be like maybe 40 to 50 hour work weeks, but, like, they're not going to expect their people to work 60 to 70 hour bullshit weeks. Like, they're going to have to for the next several months.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that's not your expectation. You know, it's just like the way development cycles work nowadays. Like, they almost feel never ending. You know, like, I get that there are going to be breaks coming there, but what good is a break if you just know that you're going to have another period of like 3 to 4 years where at least probably somewhere around half to a majority that's going to be crunch, based off of the numbers that we've been seeing out of major studios like this. So,
and the problem with your major studios, like the ones, especially the ones larger than this, is that assets get moved from part to part, especially worse in the major AAA companies, because they will just, after you have just finished crunching for this game, we're going to move you over now to this new asset that's coming out next year. Welcome back to crunch.
Yeah.
And this is why we keep talking about unionization. If there's one thing that we push here, that we will never stop fucking talking about, and hopefully no one gets tired of hearing it, because we will never stop talking about it: unionization, unionization, unionization.
Yes. Protect your neck.
There you go. But from all of that, we come to... It's not all doom and gloom, or at least there is some middle ground, because the reviews are in for Dragon Ball Kakarot.
Hey, we have reviews again.
And the reviews are Did you like Dragon Ball Z? Did you want to see it again? Here you go.
All right, I'm just gonna throw this out there. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your excitement level knowing that you can fish with your monkey tail?
Like, that does give me an extra point, but, like, moving it from, like, to meh doesn't
I
really
think that
do a lot.
Well, I think that the excitement level over the fact that you can fish with your monkey tail kind of equates to how you would rate this game. Because honestly, I have not seen a lot of promise out of this game other than, yo, the flying's good,
Yeah.
and yo, you can fish with that tail.
Yeah, the
So,
discourse around it seems to be that, like, you get like DBZ characters just sprinkled around willy nilly, and they feel more like you're going to a theme park where, hey, look, there's Mickey Mouse. What's going on, buddy? Hey, have you been to Magic Mountain? Yeah, go to Magic Mountain, buddy. And I don't know if that's what you really want out of your live open world RPG. Also, you're condensing, like, what? There was the Raditz story, the Saiyan saga, the whole bullshit of Namek, and then Cell, and then Boo, all together into one giant 40-hour game.
that is so ridiculous to even try that.
And admittedly, CyberConnect 2 makes some pretty good games. But from all of everything told, like the side questing is apparently more fulfilling than the actual fights. It's fucking Dragon Ball Z.
It's just, why would you try and cram that much into like one game, especially whenever you're like, honestly, this is the experiment. This is the thing that people have been clamoring for with DBC, is like they want an RPG. Well, we gave you your RPG. Why not try something small scale? Try one of those arcs, especially knowing how the show drew those things out. Like, let's be real. Like, the Frieza Goku fight was like 6 episodes long.
Yeah,
That's like a 3-hour thing for one fight. You do not need to cram all things DBZ into one 40-hour game to make it work. That is the exact opposite route you want to go with this. You pick one, you make a solid game out of that, and then that is your proof of concept to keep going and build out more stuff with this. And then maybe you can go expand into like maybe 2 arcs the next time or something, you know.
right.
It's just ridiculous to think that you could cram all of that into one game and make it seem like worthwhile, or give those stories the kind of power or resonance that they had whenever you were watching them in the anime. You know, it's just ridiculous.
And you don't even play as my boy Krillin. Fuck you. Fuck you. I don't need this game if I don't play Krillin. Fuck it. He's my boy. He's the best boy in all of Dragon Ball. Eat a dick.
What if they got that hot Krillin DLC coming though?
Might look into it. I will tell you, if they built a Dragon Ball game, you can even sell me with the Saiyan Saga and the Frieza Saga. Bundle all that together. Everything else is really just ice cream topping after that point. The series probably should have died with the Frieza Saga, but no, we've continued, and now there's expanded versions, and fucking Goku is some Ultra Instinct Super God level. I don't understand anymore, you kids. Should have stopped with Gen 1. Give me my Pikachu. Wait. No, wrong.
But what about Broly?
Okay, you keep your Broly. Everything else, though, yeah.
Hooray! I get my Broly.
But there's so much they could have done. They could have included like little side stories, fleshed out the fake Namek world, and then show us what happened with Goku between the points where Namek blew up and he got back to Earth or some shit. There's so much they could have done. Instead, highlight. Goddamn.
Yeah, it's almost as if they were afraid that they were not going to get to make a second one of these, no matter how poorly or well it sold. And so they're like, well, we just got to get everything in here. Like, we just gotta do everything all at once because they're never gonna let us do this again. We don't know how we convinced them to let us make a DBZ RPG, but we got their money. Let's get it all out here right now.
And let's face it, it's a Dragon Ball game. Dragon Ball fans are rabid creatures. I know when I was a fan back in high school, I was all about this shit. I would have thrown my money down on this game. I didn't have money back then, but I would have found it. I would have scraped together from whatever store down the street I could find it from. I would have gotten this game, and I probably still would have fought for it like several, a lot of the users who go onto Metacritic and start throwing their rankings down. This is a 10 out of 10. It's a fucking masterpiece. I bet it's a top review.
I mean, how many of those Budokai games did they make in the PS2 era? How many of those things? And they all sucked. But yet, for some reason, they kept selling. They kept selling because this fan base will not let DBZ die ever.
Oh, the reviews are either a 10 or a 0. That's... Oh.
Hey, you know what? That's very DBZ.
Yeah. You know what,
I'm
Kelvin?
curious.
Give me that 3-hour fight with Frieza. I'll fucking take it. We'll yell at each other, mash A to scream louder.
I'm curious, Merwin. You've been very quiet during the DBZ discourse.
To be honest, my only experience with DBZ has been DBZ Abridged.
Yes.
Because the
It's probably the-
original, quite frankly, irritated me. And guess what? Abridged didn't do much better.
Honestly, it's
So-
probably the best way to ingest that, though, at this point.
Oh my god. Wonder Boy, I want you to think for a second. If the people who made DBZ actually came together and just embraced the bullshit and said, you know what? We're going to make an abridged game.
Oh my god.
Oh,
That would- I would be in.
Day one
It would-
pre-order for me.
Yeah, I'd be into it. It'd be like a quarter of the length of this thing, and I'd probably have more fun with it.
Even if the abridged stuff is a little bit fucking cringe, especially their fan base, all of the fan base.
Oh, yeah.
I think my big thing with DBZ is I had a friend in high school who tried to force it down my throat, despite me saying, it's not my style.
Mm.
And all they could talk about was it. And then when I moved up here, my roommate and my then boyfriend decided, no, she's going to watch Abridged whether she wants to or not. And quite literally got held down on the couch and forced to watch this. So, yeah. Just no love.
Yeah, and Coop is right. They did bring in, I want to say it was Kaiser Neko was the one they brought in to do some voices in the last fighting game. For, like, a throwaway voice. That was actually pretty good. So on the level, they have embraced it, but I wanted to go whole hog. Just hog it all down.
Yeah. Also, Coop, I stand by my opinion of the Budokai games. The fighting system is terrible.
I never played Budokai.
I get why people that love that game love that game. I could not stand it. I could not get my hands on my hands off the controller of that thing any quicker whenever I started trying to get into it. Could not. DBZ Fighters is so much better.
But hey, speaking of being shoved down your throat, let's talk about Smash Brothers.
Oh, really? Oh, so you saw that meme too? Oh, maybe you're not on gay Reddit. Never mind. Okay. Yes, I have made everyone uncomfortable.
Not uncomfortable, a little confused, but not uncomfortable necessarily. Yes, Byleth has come to Super Smash Brothers. If you're a fan of Fire Emblem 3 Houses, or 4 Houses as it should probably be known now, he has been added to the Fighter Pass as the last character for the Fighter Pass. And
Well, to be fair, Byleth is it could be a boy or a girl depending on your choice.
true. And, man, the Lady Byleth is way more interesting looking than male Byleth. So, I mean, it's a little bit weird with the mid drifty part. That doesn't seem very combat forward of her, but otherwise, the punk chic design of Lady Byleth much cooler.
Oh, that look goes places in Fire Emblem also. I would not be surprised if you see some of the more late game looks that come into play with that character show up in terms of like character costumes for Smash.
True, true. And yet again, with lady fighting, pants, no pants, pants, no pants. God, the waifu thirst in Fire Emblem is so huge. And I have to admit, I'm one of the disappointed people in the group, but I didn't play Three Houses. So maybe if I did, I might have been really hyped for this. And I know it's another Fire Emblem character, and there's so many Fire Emblems already. I just...
Okay, here's what I want to know. Because I've seen a lot of people be like, why the fuck another Fire Emblem person? Why Byleth? Blah blah blah. I don't get why people are so upset. Like, I get that there's a ton of Fire Emblem characters in the game, and Byleth would not have been my first choice if you were going to pull anybody out of Three Houses to be in that game. Number one, Dedue, my boy. Dedue should have been there. Dorothea maybe there, maybe even Edelgard, but not Byleth. That's just Byleth is kind of boring. But even then, like, it's not like Byleth isn't a bad character to put into this game.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in the land of, you know what, if you're going to give more Fire Emblem, at least, you know, you're paying love and treasure to the new game in the franchise, so that's fine. And not, you know, everything isn't going to be for me. You gave me Joker. That's fucking great. Banjo-Kazooie's also cool. Dragon Quest Hero is pretty cool. Terry Bogard, it's kind of neat, paying a little homage to retro fighters. So
Yeah.
It's been worth my money for the Fighter Pack 1 to get these characters. And you know what? You want to throw one Fire Emblem character that I'm not going to play? That's cool. I've got enough run from all these other fun boys and girls.
And see, that's the thing that bothers me about this, though, is that they could have thrown a Fire Emblem character that would make you maybe want to play as that character. Because, like, Byleth is just very milquetoast. Like, even though, like, I love that game and you know, I love where the story goes, like, there are so many more interesting characters in that game that could have been brought into this with more unique fighting styles, I would say. Like, I know Coop is out there standing Hilda. That's perfectly fine. Hilda's great, but like, you throw like Raphael in there, you throw oh god, his name is escaping me right now, the leader of the Golden Deer House, Claude, in there, like a bunch of different warriors that have distinct playing styles away from like your Marths of the world. You know, like, you could have picked Fire Emblem characters that would stand out amongst the other Fire Emblem characters. Whereas I know that's an oxymoron in and of itself, but you've chosen the one that just blends into the hedges, a la Homer Simpson, more so than any other character in Fire Emblem Three Houses to put into Smash.
Well, let me ask a question, because the one selling point that a lot of people have given me for Byleth as a character is that they're multi-class, so you can use different weapons. They're not necessarily just another sword boy. The sword is actually a whip, rada rada rada, all that good stuff.
Yes, the sword does double as a whip, but here's the thing. Pretty much every character in that game can be multi-class. Like, you don't... The characters in those games, like, yes, they have a predilection towards certain fighting styles and certain weaponry, but you can... Like, all the characters are customizable. If you want hard enough for Raphael, the strong boy, to just sit back and heal motherfuckers all the time instead of punching things to death like he wants to do, you can do that.
Oh, so this wasn't a Byleth only thing for Three Houses. Multiple characters to be multiple classes.
No, yeah, like, you're basically like crafting your entire crew into what you want them to be based on how you want to play out the battles. You know, so like, you're developing people into like archers or sword fighters, axe wielders, like anything you want to do with it. You can pretty much customize your squad to however you want them to be, which is another like it's one of those things where like if yes, Byleth can do that as well, but if that's your argument as to why Byleth should be included over other characters from Three Houses, I think that's a very, very short-sighted argument because all of the characters can do that.
Even if they're literally just sold me more on playing Three Houses than anyone's actually ever sold me on that game.
Fucking good. It's fucking good. And now the DLC has your sewer house.
Mm-hmm.
Did I mention there's a sewer house? Everyone.
Look, I'm going to play Disco Elysium first, but maybe somewhere on the back.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's going to be there. It'll be there.
Mm-hmm. It'll be there when I'm ready to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But also was the announcement, you notice it said Fighter Pass 1 a lot because they have now mentioned that there will be a Fighter Pass 2. So if you are not happy with Byleth, good news, there will be 6 more fighters, and Nintendo has already decided on what those characters will be. Stop telling Sakurai which characters you want to see in Smash. He knows already. He's fucking heard it.
Can I play as Waluigi? Yet.
Yet? No.
Fuck this game.
I mean, you could always dress your Mii fighter up in purple and have him go fight. I've seen several costumes that make you look similar to Waluigi.
Fuck a Mii fighter. I can dress myself up like Waluigi. Guess what I'm not? Fucking Waluigi.
Fair, fair.
I feel like I'm dominating this conversation, Merwin. I apologize.
It's quite all right. I've had like maybe 10 minutes with Smash. I mean, the last Smash that I actually played was Melee on the GameCube. So, to be honest, I don't have a huge opinion. I mean, like, it's kind of bothering me a little bit that they are dominating the fighters list with just one franchise. But
I mean,
yeah.
It's more to the problem that, like, 80%, like, every time they put out a new Smash Brothers, they use a different Fire Emblem character. Unlike Mario's always Mario, Link's always Link. There's different flavors of Link, yeah, but, like, there's only so many flavors of Link to choose from.
I don't know. Who do you want to see in this next Fighter Pass? Who would you want to see in there?
To be real with you, I don't even fucking know anymore. Like, they gave me something I didn't expect at all when they were like, yeah, fucking Joker is going to be playable. But, oh, shit, okay. Fuck, I didn't know that was even on the table. So, at this point, I'm kind of just like, you know what, Nintendo? I will just buy your fucking Fighter Pass, and you tell me what you're going to give me, and I'll fuck around with it for a day or two. Except for this one. Every other character I've probably gotten an extra, like, 5 to 10 hours out of, so it's hard to be mad.
I only have 2 suggestions for people that should be in this next Fighter Pass. 1, Professor Oak, because that dude needs to have the idea of gender as a spectrum beaten into him. Mm-hmm. And 2, I want Sam Porter Bridges.
Yeah!
Oh, God.
Because I want Sam Porter Bridges in that game, throwing ladders up, throwing out climbing anchors like a motherfucker, and taking that BB and beating shit with it.
Sam Porter Bridges bridges his way into Smash Brothers. Woo!
How do you think he's gonna get back on the ledge when he's about to fall off? He's gonna build a bridge.
Hell yeah, he will.
It's in his name.
You know, I was with you with the whole Professor Oak thing.
Yes.
And then you lost me.
Well, can't all be winners, apparently.
Alright, but
Sam Porter Bridges always keeps coming.
Speaking of keep coming, why not? With one hand giveth, another hand taketh away, and this week has given us a whole lot of interesting trailers for upcoming things and projects. The first is the official Doom 2 Doom Eternal trailer, and you know what? I'll give you a little audio on this one. because this... I actually wasn't sold on Doom Eternal until I saw this, and this is about as close to porn, I think, as you get.
This is humanity's chance to repent.
Sorry, I had to mute myself for a second there because I did not realize that YouTube was not muted on my end. What were you saying about Doom and porn?
This, despite the Twitter compression, is beautiful. Like, I was not sold on Doom Eternal, honestly, until I saw this.
I mean, honestly, like, I've been sold on Doom Eternal for a while now based off of just... They had a lot of goodwill with me just based off of how the first game went. And how well that thing played, and how much that thing felt like a 21st century Doom. So Doom Eternal already had me intrigued, and then to see them kind of build off of the systems that they put into that first game in a way that actually like makes sense to kind of change things up, it's super intriguing to me. So it didn't take a lot to sell me on this game, but yes, seeing more images from this, more gameplay from this, like, yeah, like, you're not gonna find anything in here that's gonna take away any of my excitement for it. It's just gonna make me want to get my hands on it even more.
Yeah, just some of these designs are goddamn beautiful. Maybe a little bit more Halo-y, to be honest with you, in some parts, but I'm okay. I'm fine.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with like something looking a little Halo-y. I assume, you know, Doom guys, Doom Marines, like helmet and suit, kind of feel like having a little bit of a Halo vibe there. But like the creature models are still awesome. Like the story promises to actually be along the like similar lines as the first game, which did not take itself too seriously, but just serious enough to make you feel like you actually were battling against the terrors of hell. And this game just looks like it's going to promise even more of that. God damn it, it looks so good. God, I want it.
Yeah, I mean,
I just want
Doom sells you on the goofy but not too goofy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, just to throw this out there, don't forget you get a digital download of Doom 64 whenever you buy this thing. So yeah, Doom 64. Even more of a reason.
I mean, it looks gorgeous. I'm excited. I just thank you for bringing back Doom. But I mean, there's some of the features in this that just kind of make me balk a little.
Oh?
Just a little. Like the fact that with the online play, other players can spawn in as demons and just fuck up your day. Like, I'm not too thrilled about this.
You can turn that off, though, from all the reports I've seen so far.
Okay, so that brings it back. The fact that you're forcing a copy of Doom 64 on me...
It's not forcing, it's lovingly giving you a copy of a good Doom game.
It's not a selling point. I mean, give me Doom 1, 2, and Master levels, and I'll take those.
Well, I think they have Doom 1 and 2 available for purchase if you like that, but what about a free Doom 64?
Dude, I have the original Doom 64 cartridge. I can count on one hand the amount of hours that I put into that game when it was new.
Fair.
Fine.
Well, if I can sell you on a Doom Eternal, can I sell you a Cook Serve Delicious 3?
Possibly.
Instead, this time, you're in a food truck and you have to prep your Cook Serve Deliciously before you make to. And boy, the visuals, if everything didn't appear to blow your eyes away previously on Cook Serve Delicious, man, this one has some real goings-on. just so much information flowing into you at once, but also you can make boba tea.
This game has always been an exercise in mania,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and just seeing everything that is going on this screen right now, like they have just added more onto it. Jesus Christ.
And boy, if you've ever worked a make line before, then Cook Serve Delicious 1 and 2 definitely made you feel right the fuck back at home. Those first day jitters of how the fuck do I make this one again? Oh shit, okay, yeah, no, I'm getting the feel for this. When you change the menu again? And yeah, Steam Early Access coming on the 29th, so just a week out. I probably will wait till it comes out in the full to pick up Cook Serve Delicious 3, but 1 and 2, 1 probably more so than 2. Great fucking games. So
True.
yeah.
Although two let you decorate your restaurant in the most ridiculous way ever, so it has its selling points.
Also true. Also true. I just felt like 2 was a little too context heavy for me.
I can understand that.
So yeah, this game a little bit more going on, but it feels a little bit more streamlined from what I've seen from the interface as well. So I'll watch, because you know that once this comes out to early access, there's going to be YouTubers out there. They're going to play this. There's going to be Twitch people playing it. So get an eyeful, see what you think for yourself. And the last of our trailers. Here comes the thirst, everybody. It's Honey Pop 2.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought there already was a Honey Pop 2.
There was the webcam game that they made, and they also made a game that wasn't fan servicey between Honey Pop 1 and this. The selling point of this is that you can date 2 girls on a date at the same time.
Shout out to them actually for putting like a character in a hijab in this game, though. That's pretty rad to see. That we're getting that Honey Pop is getting inclusive. Is pretty thumbs up in my book. That being said, okay, there's another Honey Pop game. I'm sure we have friends that will be excited about this.
Yeah, I maybe linked the Hollis the moment that we found out about this, so...
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's more Honey Pop. That's cool. I'm sure it'll sell. They'll make some money. It'll be okay. But yeah.
I'll give it a try, because I like Bejeweled, and, you know, it looks unique, and there's some good jokes in it. It's a little bit hornier than my tastes go, but fine.
I mean, I don't mind a game that likes to just be upfront and unabashed about its horniness, but there's just, I don't know, just still something that just rubs me the wrong way about this game.
Yeah, with this especially, I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here and my head is tilting farther and farther to the side as I understand the fuck I just watched.
No, I don't play Mark. I don't need to play Markiplier. Oh, that's a weird image you left me on YouTube. Thank you. Okay.
Oh yeah, Sweet Jean, Sweet Snack Braff died. No.
Oh. Markiplier with huge titties. All right. Anyway, that's all the trailers we're going to cover.
Complete.
Sorry, what was that?
My life is now complete.
Yeah. All right. To end the show on the show is probably 2/3 through, but do we want to go back to real news rather than looking at trailers and big titties?
I mean, we have to have the other half of what this show is known for if we have the first half. So
Yeah, in order to continue, we have to be journalists here. Thank you to Brendan Sinclair over at GameIndustry.biz. The Epic Game Store has topped $680 million in player spending. 108 million PC customers, so an average of about $6 per player coming through last year. Now the company does note that primarily that is Fortnite. The spending was $251 million thrown into Fortnite by players last year, but the other games have also made a fair amount of money. And have provided 73 free games to players in its short lifespan. Myself, I bought Hades, I will tell you, an Untitled Goose Game, but for the most part, just been milking in those free games.
yeah, I can't say that I've like bought a ton of stuff from the Epic Game Store at this moment. And also, real quick, it should be noted the 251 million you were talking about is actually from sales of third-party games, not from Fortnite. The majority of that money came from Fortnite. 251 million comes from third-party games. So even a larger chunk of that, more than 251 million dollars, came from Fortnite. Yeah, it's that game's making fucking cash, at least while it still has a lifespan. So yeah, I mean, this doesn't surprise me though. Like, for as much as the people on Steam and around different online gaming circles have like decried the Epic Game Store for like being this thing that's going to be the end of the fucking world, apparently, there's I am not shocked at all that this thing has pulled in this much money in a year. Like, it's what happens whenever you put out something that actually entices people to use a different service, you know?
Yeah, I would even be, if you are mad at Epic Games for what it's done, okay, fine. Get its free games and don't spend a fucking dime at the actual game store. I did that with the fucking Ubisoft bullshit and got several free games out of that. So, yeah, if you want to be mad, just take their money. They give the money. It's still like whenever they do a free game, they're giving some amount of money. Now they're not entitled to say what amount of money it is, but whenever they give out a free game, the people selling the game are making money. So fuck it. Free money. All to promote fucking Fortnite further. Thanks.
When will it end? End
Hey,
for Fortnite. It does
as long
not
as they're-
need to be.
Sorry. I mean, as long as they're still giving you free games, though, like, I'm fine with them promoting Fortnite as much as they want to promote it. Like, keep giving me cool stuff that I can check out at no cost to me.
Fair. But yeah, just a little tiddling on that. But also, there's been news for Steam. Steam already is out on PC and Mac, of course. But now you can get it on Android with it coming to Google Chrome OS. So if you want to run Steam on a Chromebook, go ahead. Though what the fuck you're actually going to be able to run on that Chromebook, I'm not entirely sure. You can if you wanna. I mean, Bejeweled definitely would run on a Chromebook. I'm not sure you're exactly going to be playing Grand Theft Auto on it, though.
Here's what boggles my mind about this.
Mm.
Google has its own OS.
Mhm.
Google has its own line of notebooks that exclusively use this OS.
Mhm.
No mention of trying to keep these devices Stadia exclusive. Why would you open this up to Steam, to the largest storefront possible, if you are trying to get your own storefront off the ground? This is one of two things for me. One, incredibly short-sighted, where two departments within Google are not communicating with one another and making decisions completely and wholly independent of one another without understanding how it could impact each other's market. And two, or two, Steam, there might be some form of like Steam compatibility being worked on to be put into Stadia.
Mm.
Because like it just makes no sense why you would allow the largest storefront for PC gaming onto your systems whenever you have your own platform that you are trying to get off the ground.
It's
Like
a
this,
little weird to me, but like at the same time, I think that what they're thinking is people look at Chromebooks and go, "Oh, it's a multi-tool for office workers who need to have a spreadsheet ready on the quick for cheap." So, getting it more into people's eyes as actually being, a fun home product might make it easier for them to sell those Stadia builds to people.
then you build out a package that includes Stadia and a Chromebook. You find a way to make people associate that with your brand as opposed to like sticking Steam into it. Because honestly, at that point, no one's going to go to your storefront. No one's going to buy games from Stadia if they have Steam on their systems, and nobody using a Chromebook at least.
See, wouldn't that be smart? Like, hey, buy a Chromebook and get 3 months of Stadia for free, and boy, you could run Stadia on this potato just fine.
Bundle a controller with it. It's not that hard.
Yeah, buy the gamer Chromebook. Comes with a Stadia controller. The Stadia controller itself, fucking amazing. I will back that controller as a great purchase. The whole Stadia itself, I can't say good things about, but the controller, tits. Buy that.
I'm thinking that maybe they're trying to bring Steam to Chrome or Chromium is so that way people who want to game on the go, even if it's like super light games, because that's all about a Chromebook's going to be able to handle, they have another option than just mobile games. Because, I mean, mobile games don't translate too well to a touchscreen of that size, especially in the form factor of a laptop.
You're not wrong. I think you're spot on in that like the games that really work for what a Chromebook is capable of doing are much more like your mobile type stuff. So like yeah, like it's an awesome selling point because you can have another marketplace to bring those things in there. But at the same time, if you're worried about like the performance issues with a Chromebook or anything running Chrome OS, like Stadia is supposed to solve those problems by handling the back end off of the system itself. So like it's just one of I can see maybe why the Chrome OS and the Chromebook department of Google thought this was an awesome deal. And honestly, for those people, if Stadia did not exist, this would be great. But
Yeah.
I think that clearly they are missing a clear pushing point that they could have had. And the only thing that would make me not believe that that this is a bad move is if there is some form of like stadium, if there's some form of Steam and Stadia compatibility coming down the line.
I mean, that would be cool. I don't see it, but God, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But that being said, small sidetrack, little bitty sidetrack. Man, GameStop kind of sucks. And I'm glad that people are really starting to notice it too, because this article is just fucking great. And just speaks to all of the reasons that I can't justify going into GameStop anymore. And as the person in the article mentions, I feel like I'd rather go into Target because going to GameStop now is a hassle. I don't want to be asked about pre-orders or anything along those lines. I just want to buy a fucking game. And the less that I have to feel like fucking Godzilla trying not to knock over your immaculate pile of Funko Pops, the better. Brian, Lindsay, when was the last time either of you have actually been in a physical GameStop? I feel like I've asked this before, but I want to know.
Um. Well, I mean, I don't have GameStop up here,
Oh yeah.
so I've got EB, their sadder Canadian cousin.
Oh,
Um, Still the same company. I think the last time I was in there to buy a game
Mhm.
was probably like 3 or 4 years ago when I got my PS4. And I got that as a refurb.
I mean, I had the chance to go in a GameStop last week because like where I live near a mall,
Mhm.
and I was under a little bit of a time crunch, so the decision wasn't necessarily that hard for me to make. But honestly, even not having the time crunch on me, I probably would have just been like, nah, I don't need to go in. I don't need to. The last time I was actually in one was like, fuck, like maybe 8 months ago.
Mm.
I was looking for a like a PS4 controller or something, and I I literally walked in. I heard another employee talk. I heard an employee talking to these two clearly parents, or grandparents, one of the two,
Mhm.
talking about a game to get their son or to get somebody in their family, a younger kid who really likes Minecraft, and the employee suggested Ark to them,
Mm.
and I was just immediately like, oh, setting that child up for failure. Um, so I was immediately like, oh, I need to get the fuck out of here.
I think to tell you everything you need to know about me and GameStop, I was in there with Joan and Josh. There's one at our local mall a couple of weeks ago, so Joan could buy herself the Animal Crossing. She pre-ordered it with
Hmm.
her first paycheck of the year. And while they were in there, I left and went to the cookie dough store. So, yeah. That tells you everything on my feelings for GameStop at this point. I kind of like eyed around and was like, I don't know. Oh, wait, cookie dough. Okay.
Let's put it this way. Whenever I was looking to buy my Switch last year,
Hmm.
I never once looked at GameStop.com or went in a GameStop. I simply just went to Best Buy. I
Actually,
chose I chose Best Buy instead.
the last thing I did buy from GameStop was from their online store because that Friday the 13th hat that I have is a GameStop exclusive. So I have bought one thing from GameStop in the last 5 years. I think the last thing that I bought from GameStop, whatever, was actually the EB games that Merowyn mentioned when I visited her like 2 years ago or three and bought Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A solid purchase.
Hell yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
So that
Plenty
was my
wrong with
last on
GameStop.
purpose from a physical GameStop.
Yeah. Oh god, it's gonna be a hell of a year for the company.
Speaking of being a hell of a year for a company, let's move back to where we were though, because Google, courtesy of Eurogamer and Wesley and Poole, has promised 120 games to come to Google Stadia by 2020, and 10 of those will be timed exclusives released by July 2020. It has not said what those games will be, but it has promised 10 time exclusives, which, in the 3 months that have had it so far, there's been one exclusive for Google Stadia called Guilt, and it's a meh platformer. Okay?
I mean, I will say this about Guilt. Guilt did excite me when I first saw it in action at E3. But even then, like that's for that being your only like exclusive in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, underwhelming. Um, I have no idea what these 10 games could be.
Yeah, what the fuck could it possibly be? Because, like, we haven't heard anything that sounds like a partnership other than what Typhoon Studio, I believe.
When that was in a partnership, they bought them.
Yeah.
So like, and the thing is, like, Typhoon has a game ready to ship that is not going to be Stadia exclusive. So even if they do have a studio under their belt, but they're not making anything that's going to be coming out this year as part of that 10 exclusive titles. So who knows? Like they're all going to be third party, assume, like, pretty much.
I'm hoping that the beginning of next month, before like everyone's Stadia Pro, everyone's Stadia Pro that's going to expire in February goes out, that they give us something to fucking wow us, because giving us Tomb Raider games that are 8 years old ain't gonna cut it. So come on, wow us. You have a month left to do it in. Give me something that makes me say, ah, that's the future of gaming, right there. It is true, Coop. Tomb Raider is in 3D, and that sure is nice that they got polygons and shit. But you know what's better than Google Stadia exclusives? Tweets.
Only if they're coming from the Google Stadia official Twitter account.
Just going to give you two real quick. Thank you for your interest. We have no news to share about Half-Life 3 availability in Stadia. In the meantime, keep an eye out on our social media channels for updates and announcements. Hi there. Thanks for your interest. We have no news to share about Superman 64 availability in Stadia. We plan on having a robust lineup of games this year and will continually add new content as it becomes available. Keep an eye on our social media channels for updates.
Hey. There are canned responses, and then there are canned responses. I mean, I understand. I work in an industry where a lot of my communication is done via templates that we then have to flesh out. But we're encouraged to actually read the shit that's being asked.
I want to let our viewers know there's more than this, but I could just go on this forever, but man, I've in the 2 months that I've had a Google Stadia, we've spent enough time dunking on Stadia, but we can't not. Just a little.
It's just asking for it.
Oh my god, okay, apparently VG2 24/7 covered more of these tweets. I have some bangers here for you.
You know, read off one more. Just give us one.
Oh god, okay, okay, here we go. Here's probably my favorite one out of these. Hi, hey there. Thanks for the tweet. We don't have any news to share about the availability of Knack in Stadia, but we plan on having a robust lineup of games and we'll continually add new content, blah blah blah.
Cool. Cool and good. Cool and good.
Another honorable mention real quick. Mom Game. We have no news to share about Mom Game availability in Stadia.
The fuck's a Mom Game?
It's a game about your mom.
Ah! Alright, and just the last thing that we want to throw out, of course we get to Mr. Video Games, but did want to mention, why did I put in Verizon.com? What the fuck? That's weird advertising. Thank you. No. Humble Bundle still has 2.5 more days to go, for the Australian Fire Relief Bundle. Over $400 worth of games for $25. Not a single goddamn game is either going to Humble or anybody else. You get, if you don't have it already, and I know a lot of people already have these, but you get Hollow Knight, Void Bastards, Duck Game, Euro Truck Simulator 2, Cactus in here, Regular Human Basketball, Frog Detective. So many fucking good games in here. The $25 worth alone for Hollow Knight if you don't already have one. But, if you already have the games, hey, it's a free code to give away to your friends. Oh, it's your birthday. Fuck yeah, you get a copy of Hollow Knight.
Yeah, I mean the fact that Void Bastards is included in this is also pretty rad. Like that's an awesome game from last year that if people haven't had a chance to play, that's worth that and Hollow Knight together are probably worth like $50,
Yeah.
much less 25.
So this is a good deal. Literally all of the money that you pay goes towards RSPCA, Wires, WWF, and Australian Red Cross. So your money's going to a good place. Literally all of it. Not a single buck of this is going to Humble or the developers. They're all just doing this out of the goodness of their heart for charity. So, fucking
shit.
sweet.
I didn't realize that regular human basketball was included in this. Oh damn. Okay, I'm into this.
It's a fucking good bundle. There's 2.5 days left of it. I was just going to give money anyway to the WWF once I had it, but then after I saw this bundle, it's like, fuck it. Getting a whole shit ton of good video games too at the same time. So there you go. So that is our Mr. Video Game for January 1st, 2020. I want to again remind you that youtube.com/CBGP Games. We got links to the Discord down at the bottom. If you're following along at home, I want to thank everyone who has talked, of course, Coop and Kelverin for the time tonight and all of that good stuff. But of course, we can't end a Mr. Video Games episode without announcing the Mr. Video Games of the Week. Of course, if you don't know, Mr. Video Games is something so good, so bad, so stupid, so ugly, so amazing, so fantastic. Just something that you look at and go, yeah, that right there is video games. And today's big winner for Mr. Video Games of the Week, Mr. Rory Steele. You may say, who the hell is Rory Steele? But he is a father who has been keeping track of his work over on the Twitter.com of trying to make himself a Switch compatibility controller similar to what Microsoft has already done with their adaptive controller. And has made himself a successful build that his child is able to play and can play Breath of the Wild now for the first time. This is pretty fucking cool, and definitely Dad of the Year material here. If he can make a whole ass controller that can work for children and adults alike with disabilities. So, good fucking job, Mr. Rory Steele. Heartwarming shit. Just kind of gets into your cackles. Your sub-cackles, even, if you will.
This is one of those stories that reminds you of just of how like positive and heartwarming and the community building that games really can be. And knowing how far like some companies have come with accessibility tools for disabled gamers, to see someone take the what Xbox put out with their adaptive controller, which changed the game in a lot of ways for gaming. Inclusivity, to see somebody take that and improve on it in such a way to be able to allow their child to play Breath of the Wild, like that's, and much less any other game, but something like Breath of the Wild is fucking crazy. Like this is the ingenuity and the heart that goes into something like this, like, is overwhelming. Like fucking kudos, Steel. That's just fucking awesome.
And like, we very often have the cringiest of the cringe for our Mr. Video Games. It's so nice to have something so wholesome and so heartwarming, and oh, this is just so amazing. I'm so very happy.
Yeah, and I mean, this, I've taken a look at bits of this before and gotten a little bit further into his Twitter. It's a real solid setup that he's built out here. This is some high-grade componentry. This guy definitely knows a way around a gadget or two, so some serious soldering going on that I couldn't do, but man, if Microsoft can put out, the compatibility that they've done for the Xbox, that's definitely a gauntlet that's been thrown down to make compatibility for more people with disabilities out there. So, Sony, Nintendo, you've got an opportunity to join in every time that somebody makes, a new jump and build something new and exciting. I keep seeing the other consoles jumping in as well with it. This is definitely in Nintendo's wheelhouse. If Rory can do it, you guys can do it. I'm sure as hell you can. Get this done.
I would argue hire Rory. Clearly, Rory knows what he's doing. Give this man a job, workers' rights. Bring this dude on to help build out these sort of tools. 'Cause, like, who better than a parent of a disabled child who loves gaming to bring out the best in what you can do with new controllers that can bring this medium, this art form, to an entirely new community that up till this point might not have been able to play. It's fucking awesome. Like, this is why I love dragging motherfuckers. You know that. Like, I literally threw out the idea of having a shirt that just said Wonder Boy says get fucked on Teespring. but like, this is why I love gaming. I love gaming for the community it builds, the experiences that it brings, and just how, for lack of a better term, for the bridges that it can build.
Yeah, and like Merwin said, there's a lot of time for us to be snarky on here, to yell union right, labor rights, blah, 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 blah. It's nice to end an episode with 2 stories in a row that are like, yeah, fuck yeah, do the good thing.
Games are good.
Yeah.
Games are fucking good.
I mean, I think we should all start retreating this wonderful, wonderful gentleman to people like Adam Savage, who is huge in the maker market and has 1.5 million connections everywhere. And, this man deserves a shit ton of recognition. Let's get his name out there, folks.
Yeah, this is a weekend project that he built this in, so imagine if you actually gave him some money. Alright. That does do it, though, for Mr. Video Games for Monday the 20th, 2020. Brian, I'll give it to you there first. Why not? You got any good things to end us on this evening?
Honestly, nothing as good as that last story. Nothing that's gonna warm the hearts as well as that. I mean, I've got my trademarks, but clearly Mr. Roy Steele is one up to me here. And good on him for doing that, because honestly, like, that's the sort of thing we need in this world right now. I will say though, of course, if you want to read and follow a lot of what I'm doing, you can follow me on Twitter at WonderboyOTM. You can read my articles at outsports.com, pastemagazine.com, and of course, if you're into wrestling, you can check out my queer wrestling podcast every Thursday. It's called LGBT in the Ring. That is done in cooperation with Outsports, part of SB Nation. That comes out every Thursday morning, where we chat about pro wrestling and queerness with all kinds of different queer figures within it, and it's pretty rad. I'm really excited about where the show's been going. So that's all my plugs and junk. I'm gonna step away from this and feel good in my belly about what I just saw on my computer screen.
All right, Merwin, any final words this evening?
I mean, that our Mr. Video Games this week just kind of, I'm overwhelmed with the happy and the joy and the, I feel all smushy inside. But, be good to each other, be the change you want to see in the world, and, just try to be happy, try to find that silver lining.
All right, I've got nothing good to add, so thank you all again for coming. Of course, youtube.com/cbgbgames, Discord, links to all of our Twitters down in the below parts. Thanks everybody for coming. Have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow.
Bye.